Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are San Diego.
Hard hit, right field. That's a base hit. Might go to the corner. Guerra rounding second. Javi Guerra is going to be waved by Glenn Hoffman. Guerra is rounding third. The throw to the plate, not in time. And the Padres win it in the 15th. Quite a night last night as the Padres and the Diamondbacks went 5 hours and 2 minutes to decide a winner in the 160th game of the season. The winner, obviously, the San Diego Padres. Now tonight, Game 2 of this 3-game weekend series with Mark Grant. I'm Jesse Agler. That was a lot of fun. Tonight, baseball night in San Diego, after baseball morning in San Diego yesterday. And, wow, that was something.
It was fun because this team we've seen through the year, even though they're in last place, they do have some fight in them. And thanks to Hunter Renfroe, it was worth the wait, wasn't it, Jesse, after that 5 hour and 2 minute game?
No doubt about that. Let's talk a little bit more about Hunter Renfroe. As he said, he tied the game with a home run in extra innings. And really all year this year, he has been clutch late in games.
It's not just a home run, clutch home runs. 7th inning or later. Okay, it's crunch time. Sure, there's been some games when the Padres have been wiped out, but still they put together good at-bats. But what tells me about Hunter Renfroe is that he's up there concentrating late in the game to where one swing can make a difference. Hey, there's the 11-2 home run where you hit it right, but how about when it's tied? How about when you're down by a run, you're tied? Last night was evident of that. Down by a run, first pitch, gone. Launch angle, and it was worth watching him hit the home run and going 15 innings. And having everybody going happy.
Great pinch hitting numbers as well. 7 out of 15 as a pinch hitter this year with 3 home runs, including a grand slam. Another key last night for the Padres in the win, the bullpen. They've been great all year long, especially in the second half. These guys basically worked an entire game last night.
It was incredible. 8+ innings. The strikeout was evident, and we mentioned it before. I think we gave a lot of love to the bullpen recently, but 8 2/3, 11 strikeouts, only 3 hits. The extra base hits almost non-existent. Each one of these guys, I can go on and say 2 or 3 positive things about this ball club. But the one thing, the guys that are just up here for the big leagues this first year, talking about Robert Stock, Wick, the other Wick, and then you've got Maton, who's been around for a while, and then Craig Stammen, but still, these guys collectively made big pitches, big-time opportunities.
When we come back, a little bit more on tonight's starting pitcher, Jacob Nix will wrap up his rookie campaign. We'll hear from Andy Green.
Petco, the pet company, and by Cadillac. Visit your San Diego Cadillac dealers today. Game 161. More on tonight's starting pitcher with Bob Scanlon.
Well, thank you, Jesse. Jacob Nix will be making his 9th start of the season for the Padres tonight. Now, there have been some moments of brilliance, including his 8 1/3 one-run effort versus the Seattle Mariners, but there have also been some rookie opportunities to learn as well. But you got to remember, an awful lot's been thrown at this young man in a short period of time. Andy Green explains.
He's 16 starts above A-ball when he got to the big league, so there was a little expectation of some lumps along the way, and now it's like his success is predicated on his ability to bounce back from those tough spots. And we wouldn't have brought him here if we didn't think he couldn't bounce back. So he's one last outing. It'd be nice to see him do what Eric did yesterday and have one last good one to go in the offseason on.
Well, as Andy said, look, a lot has been thrown at him in a short period of time, but they didn't think he'd be able to do it if he couldn't handle it. He's shown that he can, and obviously a good start today would be a great ending to a nice rookie campaign and launch him into next season. Well, the Padres are looking for some soup for the soul. Hunter Renfroe was sick last night. Did it stop him? No, that chicken soup gave him a pinch hit home run. Padres, Diamondbacks. First pitch coming up next right here, Fox Sports San Diego.
Game is tied. Hunter Renfroe, tie game. Guerra is rounding third. The throw to the plate, not in time. And the Padres win it in the 15th.
You can't handle this.
Wild one last night. It concluded at 12:12 a.m. Padres beat the Diamondbacks in 15 innings. And now Jacob Nix will go out and make his 9th Major League start. His final of the 2018 season. The 22-year-old right-hander has had his rookie ups and downs. See if he can finish on a high note, as Eric Lauer did in yesterday's win over these Diamondbacks. Time now for the weather report, brought to you by your always sunny Honda dealers of San Diego County. And on a baseball night in San Diego, can't ask for any better than that. With Mark Grant, Bob Scanlon, and our entire Fox Sports San Diego crew. And boy, did they put in some hours yesterday. I'm Jesse Agler. Torey Lovello, a couple of more games to go here. Arizona will be not participating in the postseason this year, and a very different looking lineup than they had yesterday. Former Padre John Jay leads off. Eduardo Escobar has been red hot. Ketel Marte to follow him. Peralta, Descalso, and Socrates Brito in the middle of the order. Ildemaro Vargas at second base tonight, batting 7th. The catcher Avila and the pitcher Godley will bat 9th. And there is something, Mark Grant, that jumps off the page to me looking at that Diamondback lineup, and that is 1 through 8 against Jacob Nix. They are all either left-handed hitters or switch hitters.
So I think the changeup is going to come into play for Jacob Nix. I think that breaking ball will also come into play. See if he tries to jam them with the fastball. After that Major League debut, he was really got to turn things around. And you see his usage right there. Fastball, curveball, changeup, slider. The changeup, I think, is the really big pitch for Jacob Nix.
John Jay goes the other way about as often as anybody, and that time it works out for the Padres, 1 down.
Talked about Jacob Nix, pitched 6 shutout innings against the Phillies, his Major League debut. Well, since then, it's been a different story. 1-4 with an 8 ERA. And you see the usage of the fastball, the curveball. You know, that changeup at 13%, I really like that pitch. And if you remember, Jesse, against the Phillies, a lot of swings and misses on that pitch. So if he gets a feel for that early, that could be the pitch du jour in this start for the right-hander.
As we mentioned, this is his 9th Major League appearance and his 2nd against the Arizona Diamondbacks. The first one did not go well. In fact, he has now equaled the length of that outing. He recorded only 2 outs against the Diamondbacks back on August 16th here. He allowed 5 runs on 5 hits. Much better so far tonight.
2 quick outs, and the defense loves it. And let's take a look at that defense, brought to you by your San Diego County Ford dealers. Corey Spangenberg at third base. Javi Guerra at short. Freddie Galvis switches over to second base. At first base, the Gold Glover Eric Hosmer. Putting down the signs, A.J. Ellis. In the outfield, Hunter Renfroe. Center field, Manuel Margot. And in right field, Franmil Reyes.
Very nicely done.
Thank you, sir.
Marte caused some trouble last night.
He sure did. I like this guy. One of the best base running, how should I say it, techniques. How he scored on that fly ball. I mean, he kind of deked and then turned it on and utilized that speed and got safely into home for the big run for the D-backs.
The only 2 Arizona runs in the entire 15 innings last night came on a sac fly and a passed ball. He is out. Nicely done by Hosmer and Nix. And just a 7-pitch top of the first inning for Jacob Nix. Torey Lovella will, of course, wait and take a look at the replay. You can do the same thing with us. Hosmer knocking it down, staying with us. He got him. And the top of the first is done. Seven pitches to get through the Diamondbacks. And now the Padre lineup brought to you by your San Diego County Toyota dealers. Freddie Galvis leading off once again. Reyes and Hosmer to follow in the first. Hunter Renfroe back in the starting lineup with Spangenberg and A.J. Ellis hitting 6th. Margot, Guerra, and Jacob Nix rounding it out for Andy Green here tonight.
Now let's take a look at Zach Godley's arsenal, brought to you by Nissan. When you think of Zach Godley, you've got to think of the curveball. Well, 54% of the fastball, 40% above the Major League average of the usage of that number 2, and then he'll mix in a changeup every now and then. Will he be able to throw the curveball for strikes?
Not too dissimilar of an approach as last night's starter for Arizona, Patrick Corbin. He does it more with the slider than the curveball, but a guy who's going to throw a ton of breaking pitches and try and get you as a hitter to expand. We'll see if the Padres are able to lay off that here tonight.
Yeah, will Godley be able to throw it early for a strike and then expand it, like you said, bounce it, like Corbin did? Now, if he cannot throw it early, that's just a pitch you eliminate over the course of the game.
Galvis goes after the second pitch of the night. And in right field, routine for Socrates Brito, one away.
Diamondbacks defense brought to you by your San Diego Cadillac dealers. Second base.
Ildemaro Vargas.
Ildemaro Vargas. I practiced that name before, and thank you for your help. That's awesome. Daniel Descalso at first base. Ketel Marte at short. Eduardo Escobar. Alex Avila at behind the plate. David Peralta in left, John Jay, and Socrates Brito in right. Ildemaro Vargas.
Great name. Added to the list of the Diamondbacks with great names. They got a bunch. Franmil Reyes, hard hit, but into the shift. Backhanded by Ildemaro Vargas. And a couple of quick outs in the bottom of the first as we take a look at the keys to the game brought to you by your San Diego Honda dealers.
You know, we're down to 2 games, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to thank the gentleman to my right because we enjoy going over the keys, Jesse and I, and bounce back for Nix. After the last outing for him this year, like Eric Lauer, end up with a good one and a good first inning and clutch hits. Just so we don't, have to go 15 innings today. Maybe the Padres can get some clutch hits early and play 8.5 in game 161.
Neither team came up with a clutch hit really until the very end of the night last night. Talked about the Arizona runs coming on a passed ball and on a sacrifice fly. The teams last night combined to go 0 for 21. With runners in scoring position, and they left 24 men on base.
Ouch.
It was a long night, obviously, and that's a big reason why.
And the one thing that sticks out, we talked about it in our game open, the bullpen for the Padres. Just an outstanding job the whole year. And once again, they're going to have times when you give up runs. It's going to happen.
Sure.
Hey, once out of every 10 times, I'll take that.
Combined for 8 2/3 innings in last night's game. They allowed a run on 2 hits, and they struck out 11.
A lot of guys in that bullpen have swing and miss stuff, and that's why you see those strikeouts.
Padres used 8 different relief pitchers last night. Diamondbacks used 9. Hosmer up the middle. Vargas can't get to this one, and a base hit for the Padre first baseman. 2-out single in the bottom of the first inning, and the first base runner of the night for either team.
Talk about using the big part of the diamond. Eric Hosmer does just that. This ball hits sharply. Even though it's a 3-hopper towards the center fielder, beats the shift. That's a big league knock. And with this swing of the bat, there goes the no-hitter.
One of last night's heroes, Hunter Renfroe. He was not feeling well yesterday. He says he's feeling better today, although Andy Green said that he sounds worse than he does. But last night, told Andy, I got one swing in me. And boy, did he.
First pitch coming off the bench. A lot of guys look for that first pitch heater. If it's a breaking ball, if it's in that area, they are hacking. And my goodness, he put a charge into it.
Missed it, pinch hit, home run with 2 outs, down a run. He in the bottom of the 12th. And I think fittingly for a guy fighting a pretty serious cold, it went into the soup. Because Mom always said, chicken soup when you're not feeling well.
Perfect.
And he hit it into the soup. Hashtag into the soup.
I love it.
He said they've been joking in the clubhouse all year. If somebody hit it in there, they get ramen for life from everybody else. He has gotten ahead here as he's done really much of this season.
Well, let's see if the Diamondback pitchers, whoever faces Hunter Renfroe, throws a lot of wrinkles off the plate, have him chase. I'll tell you what, if they throw a fastball for a strike, it's probably going to be a mistake. It's got to be on the corners.
Taking and a strike, 3-1.
There's a cut fastball, it looked like, from Godley.
Well, Renfroe and the Padres have seen plenty of Godley over the course of this year and the last couple. This is Godley's 5th start of the season against San Diego. Hunter 5 out of 16 against him with a couple of doubles and now a walk. Padres with runners on first and second, 2 down. And Corey Spangenberg, who, as you saw on deck, the third baseman tonight coming up against Godley.
You know, that plate appearance for Hunter Renfroe, I think, says a lot. Last night, he put a charge in it, right? I think if he consistently does that over the course of a season, hitters are going to be a little tentative to pitch to him. You draw your walks and you leave it up to the next guy. Hopefully do the damage.
Corey came off the bench last night, struck out as a pinch hitter in the 7th. Padres would use 5 of 5 available bench players in last night's game. No surprise in 15 innings. 2 on and 2 out.
There's that curveball we're talking about. And once you get the feel for that pitch, it could be a tough night at the plate.
Unofficial trivia for you. Which Padre has drawn the most walks since the beginning of August?
First of all, I love trivia, and secondly, it's probably Corey Spangenberg.
You go.
Did you say it was unofficial trivia?
Unofficial trivia. Official trivia comes from Chiron Bob. Valley View Casino trivia.
Right. I love unofficial trivia, by the way.
Well, I like to do unofficial trivia just to kind of keep you sharp.
Okay.
I don't want you to, be lulled into
Sure.
a false sense of security. 2 on and 2 out in the bottom of the first inning. After Godley was 3-0 on Renfroe, he's gone 0-2 on the next hitter, Corey Spangenberg, and he strikes him out. So a hit and a walk with 2 down in the bottom of the first inning, but Godley sprints back to the dugout in a scoreless game.
And the Diamondbacks. Jacob Nix going out for his second inning of work, and he's talked a little bit about some mechanical things that he's worked on over the course of the season. He has hands being too high at times, getting his back leg through, but the number one thing that he is working on coming into this outing is fastball command. We hear it all the time, but specifically, he wants to try to keep the ball down today, guys. There have been some times where he's tried to go down in the zone and has left the ball up a little bit. Not that you don't still pitch up in the zone by design, but the fastball at the knees is going to be crucial for him today. And Mudd, I like your point also about going to that changeup as much as possible. The only other thing to keep an eye on is putting batters away. With 2 strikes, his batting average against is about 60 points higher than the rest of the league. So we'll see if he can finish some guys off today, guys.
Yeah, that comes back to the strikeout issue for Jacob Nix. And even in that great near complete game, he didn't strike anybody out. And that's all well and good, but it's hard to sustain that kind of success. He makes a nice defensive play here, and Peralta is out to start the top of the second inning. You need a K here and there over the course of a long season.
Yeah, even though that pitch was grounded to the right side, he had him 0-2, puts the hitter on the defensive, and look at the swing. Looks like a changeup off the end of the bat, right? Rolls it over. Oh, and that's a great look. A little bit too quick off the end of the bat, and I tell you what, Jacob Nix I think he could parlay working over at first base into Peoria next spring. Say to Andy Green, hey, I covered first 2 times my last start. Can I take a little break over in Peoria when it comes to PFPs?
Like he's got it covered.
Oh, he's got it locked in.
Fields his position well. He's a good athlete.
Yep.
Here's Descalso. Gets the start at first base tonight for Paul Goldschmidt.
Pitchers are the best athletes.
You know, you say that. I don't think many non-pitchers agree with you. But I know that doesn't bother you. You're your own man. You're not worried about what other people think. Clearly, you're the best athlete in the booth.
I don't know. I think, you know what, you've got some moves.
Well struck, deep left center field, and a long run for Manuel Margot, and that will be off the base of the wall. Descalso into second, made the first Arizona hit, a 1-out double. That didn't miss by much.
No, not at all. And what a difference the count makes, right? 2-0, 4-seam fastball. As a hitter, you're going to look for it. You're not going to get it every time. But Jacob Nix, I would consider this as a mistake. It's a miss. He wanted to go down and away, it leaks, and just off the base of the wall. And that's where, like Bob said, command of the fastball is so key in a 2-0 count.
And where David Peralta says hit the weight room, and maybe that won't be a double, it'll be a home run. Fastball perfectly placed on the outside corner for a strike, 0-1. Look, Jacob Nix, like any other rookie pitcher, has had his ups and downs. We mentioned that tough start against the Diamondbacks. It was tough sledding, certainly, in his last start last Saturday night at Dodger Stadium. But, I mean, this is a guy who already, in his very brief pro career, has overcome some things. Great story in the Union Tribune a couple of weeks ago by Jeff Sanders about Nix when he first showed up in the Padre organization after signing. He developed the yips for the first time in his life.
That's hard to overcome.
And I mean, it was right out of the chute. I think it was, rookie ball in Arizona.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, nothing was happening for him. And he had to push through that, and he did. And to get to the big leagues as quickly as he has, even without that happening, is a pretty good accomplishment.
First of all, that's a nightmare. I hate to see any pitcher go through that. And when I think of that, I think of Rick Ankiel. Remember, Rick Ankiel went through that. And then secondly, good on Jacob Nix for getting through that. You talk about a guy being mentally tough to get through that and be at this level and have some success. That's good news. That's great stuff.
All the trials and tribulations that these guys have to navigate to get to this point, much less have great success at this point. Runner on second, 1 out, and Brito takes just a little bit low. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That was a really good pitch. 94 right at the knees on the outside corner.
He's throwing to A.J. Ellis, who has not started a game since September the 2nd. I think A.J. Ellis was a sophomore in high school when Jacob Nix was born. And that's not an exaggeration.
Yeah, and you know what? If I'm Jacob Nix, having A.J. Ellis behind the plate, it's going to take all the guesswork out because A.J. knows the game plan. It's going to get me into a rhythm. Whatever he puts down, I'm going to throw that pitch and try to hit the glove.
Brito out in right field tonight for the Diamondbacks. It was Chris Owings yesterday. There's your guy, Ildemaro Vargas, the second baseman.
Ildemaro.
That's Descalso, Daniel. Another foul ball.
If you have some bad food today, you'll be ill tomorrow.
Ah, it's cute. What do you got on Brito?
A great name.
It is a great name. Socrates, named after the philosopher. The 2-2. Another foul ball. That was the 8th pitch of this at bat. Do you know Socrates Brito's middle name? It has to do with baseball. His dad was a huge Dodger fan.
Did he like Dodger pitchers?
He did.
For Oral Hershiser.
There you go.
His middle name's Hershiser.
Oral.
Really?
Yeah. Socrates Oral Brito.
Wow.
Named after a philosopher and a Cy Young Award winner. No pressure,
That's
kid.
a lot of I was going to say, that's a lot of pressure.
It's a great name, though. Dodgers, by the way, clinched a spot in the postseason today. beat the Giants in San Francisco, so they will be at least a wild card in the National League. Mike and Mark keep us updated on all the drama, and that is a walk and a really nice turn AB. 10-pitch walk to Brito.
MLB At Bat is your #1 app to watch live Padres baseball. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get Padres home screen icons and features such as the MLB.TV game of the day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcast, stats, news, and more. Download MLB At Bat today.
Now at bat, Ildemaro Vargas. Switch hitter from the left side. This is one of those guys who has spent a lifetime in the minor leagues, and he finds a hole on the right side. Descalso coming home. He will score the first run of the night, and Ildemaro puts the Snakes in front 1-0. Right place, right time, just out of Freddie Galvis' reach.
Well, as a pitcher, it's kind of frustrating. It's a four-seam fastball with good run away. He goes out and gets it and tops it, so rolls it over. So it's like a 4 or 5 hopper just out of the reach of Freddie Galvis. It finds that hole on the right side. And also the run, and then first to third with fewer than 2 outs. Boy, that really ticks a pitcher off. You make a good pitch, and it just happens to find a hole.
Vargas with his second RBI of the season. As you said, Brito philosophically made his way from first to third, and now it'll be number 8 hitter, the catcher Alex Avila, another left-handed hitter against Jacob Nix.
You know, I think one thing we should keep an eye on is if Jacob maybe falls into a pattern against the lefties because there's so many of them.
That one gets away, and this will be another run. Last night, the Diamondbacks scored their first run of the night on a passed ball. This will be a wild pitch, 2-0 Arizona.
That's a curveball, 12-6, and way off the mark. Not much A.J. Ellis can do here. He even got his right hand in on that. A.J. was set up in a different spot. Bounced in the other's batter's box, the left-handed batter's box. No chance for A.J. to smother that one.
So Vargas now at second base.
Really didn't finish that last pitch off. If you notice, he threw it, just kind of straightened up a little bit and fell off to the side. Not a good follow through, not finishing it off. And once again, a dangerous count at 2-0.
Avila at the plate. Did not see him in yesterday's game. John Ryan Murphy got the start behind the dish. The 2 starting catchers each went the distance last night. How about that? In September, with all the extra roster spots available, both Mejia and John Ryan Murphy caught all 15 innings.
I would like to crawl inside the body of those catchers after 15 innings and just kind of feel like what's it like when you wake up the next morning.
Oh, miserable, I'm sure.
You got to be hurting all over.
I would think after a 9-inning game in which you don't take any foul tips or anything, a normal, uneventful 9-inning game, you're sore the next day. 15, forget it. 3-0 to Avila, and that is the second walk of the inning issued by Jacob Nix. It'll get the pitcher up with 2 on and still only 1 away in the second.
Well, these Diamondbacks being more patient this inning. Remember in the first inning, 1, 2, 3, they were swinging early. Swinging early, early outs. Only 7 pitches in that first inning for Jacob Nix.
Godley, an .067 hitter in his career, has 8 sacrificed bunts this season. He has also driven in a run against the Padres, and he's swinging away. Tried to find a hole and couldn't. That's 1 and no turn, but the Padres do get a force on the middle of the diamond, and now with 2 outs, runners on the corners.
Boy, with the shift on, with the way they were positioned, Javi Guerra had to wait a little bit for Freddie Galvis to cover at second base for that throw.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts defensively on the infield. But everybody kept their cool. They got an out. And now John Jay is the man standing between Jacob Nix and the end of this second inning. Jay grounded a shortstop to open the game. He's the 7th man to hit here against Nix in the 2nd. And Jacob delivers strike 1. John Jay now 33 years old. Padre in 2016.
Remember when he was on the club, he was always talking to guys on the bench, young guys, passing along what he knows to the, I mean, every time we shot the bench, he was in somebody's ear.
What I remember was he spent a huge chunk of the back half of the year on the DL, and he was still on every trip because of exactly what you talked about. They wanted him around the young guys and even some of the not so young guys, I think. And like you said, be that clubhouse presence, that bench presence, just to kind of share his vision of the game with everybody. Into left center, Margot was perfectly positioned, and Nix does escape without further damage. Couple of runs in inning number 2 for Arizona.
Somebody to handle better what he's handled this last month, which is, hey, you played really well for us this year. You went out and hit 290, had our highest on base percentage. Your reward is not playing for a month. Not many people handle that well. His maturity has been evident to all, and I think in Austin Hedges' case in particular, like, his impact's been strong for Austin, and they like really good relationship now. And I think everybody wants to see AJ play one last baseball game today, and don't want to make too much of it, but you know, he's had a really, really good career.
Andy Green talking about his backstop. A.J. Ellis will lead off the inning. He's in his 11th season in the big leagues, and his 37-year-old is having his best season in the big leagues at the plate, hitting .281. Andy mentioned also that he leads the ball club with a .389 on-base percentage. It's just been a victim of circumstance, really. He's done everything that the Padres have asked him to do defensively. He's also been outstanding in working with Austin Hedges and Francisco Mejia since he's gotten here, who really supplanted A.J. and has cost him his playing time. But everybody wanted to see him get a chance to play one more game before the end of the season. Now, whether or not he comes back remains to be seen. If you talk to AJ, he says, look, I want to continue to play if there's an opportunity. He realizes that the door is closing at his age, but guys, he is still performing. He gets a chance to show it off one more time today, guys.
Very nice, Bob. And AJ Ellis, I'll say this, he is one of those guys that when he is done playing, and whether that's after this year or not, he can do whatever he wants in baseball. If he wants to get into coaching, managing, broadcasting, whatever it is, he'll be good at it. Grounds out here, and a nice presence. Certainly, Descalso dropped it. Wow. Yeah. It'll be an error on Descalso, and Ellis reaches.
You know what? That's just a good old-fashioned boot.
I mean, that's a perfect throw, right?
Yeah, it's right there. It's a bit, you know what? The first baseman's glove's a bigger glove. And you know what? It might not seem like a big deal, but after going to an outfielder's glove, maybe an infielder's glove, to manipulate a glove like that, and it might sound, oh, come on, really, you're kidding me. No, it's a different type of glove.
I guess Torey Lovello wants to know if perhaps the out was recorded before all of that took place. And you look back at the career of Daniel Descalso, he's played
no way.
every different position in the world. But tonight, only his 29th start ever at first base. Did he recover on the ground? That's the question.
I thought his foot was on the bag before he had control of the ball in his bare hand.
It's an interesting look.
Yep.
And a headsy play by Descalso at the end of the day. Picking it back up. So it's the end that we're watching.
Oh.
It's very close.
That's close there, yeah. And was his foot still on the bag?
I think so.
Yep.
I think it's really about whether he picks it up before Ellis hits first base or not. So watch the bare hand and Ellis's foot. Are you giving him possession there? In the NFL, not a catch. I'm not sure about here. This is a weird one.
It is. Because his hand was definitely on the ball, but what do they constitute as control?
Right. Did he make a football move?
And you know, I'll be quite honest with you, when it first happened, I didn't look at the second half of the play. I just looked at the frog in the tennis racket in the glove.
Sure, it was hard to see.
So hold all tickets.
We had, what, 4 or 5 replay reviews in the game last night.
Are you going to make a prediction?
No, I said I'm not predicting any more replays the rest of the year because I think I was 0 for last night.
If you had to.
Not happening. Not going to do it.
Oh, that was a nice Dana Carvey right
Not
there.
bad, yeah. Early 90s reference. I'm surprised you were up to date on that. Yeah. Let's see what these guys have to say. Not that they'll say anything. He's out. You know what? Credit to Daniel Descalso. Not giving up on the play. He made obviously what looked like a really bad error, but recovered just in time. And did have possession, apparently, at the end of the day to get the out.
You know, since you brought up football and the catch, no catch, right? It's like that second effort. You get blown out of a play and you get right back up and you go make the tackle. Well, great second effort right there by Daniel Descalso after boxing it with the bare hand for the out.
I like it. Comparing Daniel Descalso to a linebacker.
Yeah.
Didn't expect that tonight. Margot trying to chop one over the head of Escobar at third base, but foul. Nothing in one on Manuel getting the start in center field. He was out there at the beginning of the game last night. On his birthday. By the time the game was over, it was no longer his birthday. I got one more number I want to throw out there from last night's game. The teams combined to throw 427 pitches.
Wow. I wonder how many baseballs were used.
Ooh, good question.
Tony Patrica or Spencer Dolan can get on that one.
You really put those guys to work the last couple of nights. We were doing a
hardest working guys
yesterday.
down there.
Oh, yeah.
Tony Patrica working the umpire's room plus working a little bit in the clubhouse for the Padres. So kind of double duty for Tony.
Hardest working men in showbiz.
Yep.
Gets a call now. 2-2 on Manuel Margot. Do you know the average number of baseballs used in a game?
I think Tony told me he rubs up 6 to 8 boxes of baseballs prior to first pitch.
On the ground is shortstop. Cattell Marte. And Descalso makes the catch cleanly this time. 2 away in the second. Time for the Kia drive to success. Zach Godley comes into this game 14-11 with a 4.75 ERA. Among the worst of any starting pitcher in baseball. Has thrown at least 170 innings this year. John Gray on the mound tonight for Colorado. In their rather large game against the Washington Nationals. Here's Javi Guerra. Has one major league hit so far. The second will have to wait. That was a 1-2-3 inning for Zach Godley. And Dodgers, Giants tied at 5, 8th inning. That would be a triple for Manny Machado. As the Dodgers broke it wide open, they would win the game 10-5, and they clinch a postseason berth. LA will be, at worst for them, a wild card. They have an opportunity, obviously, to win the National League West outright. That depends in part upon the Colorado Rockies, who trail to Washington tonight early on in their game. They got underway about a half an hour before we did tonight. But the Rockies come into play today, a game in front of the Dodgers, so now a half game up. And obviously the difference with the way the postseason is set up now between being a wild card and a division winner is gigantic.
You just got to win out, right? That's the only thing you got to think about. You can't worry about the other team. Wild card, one-game playoff. Win the division.
So the National League playoff race at this very moment looks like this. Brewers trying to maintain pace with the Chicago Cubs, who lost today, and pick up ground there, I guess I should say. Cardinals beat the Cubs, but the Cardinals now eliminated from postseason contention after that Dodger win. So we know the 4 teams that have been fighting are all going to be in now. You know, the Cubs are going to be in, the Brewers are going to be in, the Dodgers are going to be in, and the Rockies are going to be in. You just don't know which 2 will be the wild cards and which 2 will be the division winners.
Here's the way I look at this. The teams that are still battling, playing against teams that are eliminated, I think sometimes those are the toughest games to win.
Sure. Escobar strokes that one into left center, and this time Margot cannot get there. It drops down for a leadoff single here in the 3rd. Let's take another look at this thing. So Dodgers now a half game out. If Colorado loses tonight, those 2 will go into the final day of the season tied for first in the West. Cubs and Brewers have the possibility of a similar outcome if Milwaukee wins tonight. And then, as mentioned, the wild card.
I want to see all those teams tie. The teams that have the capability of tying
Sure.
at the end, after 162, that's what I want to see.
You want as much chaos as possible. Brewers, by the way, are tied 5-5 at home with the Tigers in the 6th inning. Detroit is threatening in that inning, and the Rockies are losing 5-1 at home to Washington. But at Coors Field, that's a long way to go. Nice little run here for Ketel Marte. He was robbed by Eric Hosmer his first time up. And that is a potential double play ball. Nicely done by Javi Guerra, 2 away.
Couple of good hops for Javi. One off the mound. The second, the short hop by the second base bag. And the slick fielding shortstop. Good position. There's the first hop. He plays it back a little bit and then takes it himself for the 6-3.
Boy, he had that 2-error game
Yeah.
last week. But an opportunity there, I think, to see some of the glove skills and also the arm. The arm is special for Javi Guerra. Just getting his feet wet in the big leagues.
You know what I love, Jesse, is when you see a shortstop like that and they, you know, routine, they just flip it over there. But then when they have to use it, that's what's fun. Show off that hose.
Nice pitch to Peralta. Nix evens it up 1-1. Breaking ball tapped, and Nix will make the play. Nicely done by Jacob Nix here in the 3rd inning. Leadoff single, and the double play helped.
famous pitcher on the St. Louis Cardinals.
How great is that?
I love that.
I have no idea where that video came from or how we acquired it, but that was Jacob Nix in elementary school.
Wow.
And his teacher, Mrs. Whomever, saying he's going to be a famous baseball player. She got the team wrong, but that's okay.
Yeah, and that's the point I was going to make. Hopefully he's going to be a famous pitcher for the San Diego Padres for a long, long time. That's a great video.
Thank you to the Nix family for sending that along. Well, he looks exactly the same. I know he's only 22, so it wasn't really that long ago. But you could tell that was Jacob Nix as like a little 7 or 8, whatever he was. Too cool. Never forget, it really is a childhood dream for these guys. Literally. Even for Zach Godwin. Even for the guys on the other team.
Sure.
It's amazing. Nix looking for his first major league hit. Trying to hold up, and he did. At his first career sacrifice last Saturday night against the Dodgers. Leadoff man, Freddie Galvis. AKA the reason we're not still playing from last night. Again, trying to lay off that pitch down in a way he does, and he's worked the count full, 3-2.
Got to look for the heater here. Oh, fastball away, curveball. He's going back to the number 2.
Throws it about as much as anybody in baseball, and it's a good one. Nix punches out for the first out here in the bottom of the third. Time now for our Coors Light refreshing finish. Last night, Freddie Galvis sent us home happy at 12:12 in the morning. Javi Guerra scoring from first base on his double.
And it doesn't surprise me or any of us watching the last month or so for Freddie Galvis how he's been swinging the bat. And the timing could have been more perfectly with the dousing of the Powerade, Gatorade, whatever you want to call it. He got him perfectly. Was that Franmil Reyes?
I believe Jose Perella.
Jose Perella had it. Wow, perfect. Got him good.
He has been as hot as any Padre over the last couple of weeks. A couple of huge games against the Giants. Now 1-1. But I think he was 7 for 13 in that series in San Francisco.
It's like softball numbers, you know, softball weekend league.
He had 2 hits last night. One of them led off the first inning. The other one ended the 15th. He went, like 4.5 hours between hits.
Bookends.
That's it. Go back the last couple of weeks, tied for the most hits in all of baseball for Freddie Galvis. Slugging is up, on base is up. It's well struck, but right at Ildemaro Vargas. He's been busy so far this evening. And 2 down in the bottom of the third.
As you mentioned, even that out hit sharply. The one hopper to the right side. He's seeing the ball extremely well, putting good swings on those pitches. Boy, it's got to be taxing for Freddie Galvis. Now, playing every game at shortstop, head in every play. You got to be in every play. Mentally, physically.
Only guy in baseball this year to start every game. Franmil Reyes lately has been starting every game. No reason to put him on the bench. And Galvis, barring anything unforeseen, will start all 162 games this year for the Padres. It's something that's very important to him. Reyes looking for a little fair territory down the line. Franmil broke the bat, gets a new piece of lumber. Reyes homered twice against Godley in that Labor Day game. First multi-homer game of Franmil's career. Probably not the last.
No, I was just going to say, I think there's going to be many, many more for this kid.
Godley goes back to the curveball on 0-2, and Franmil beats it into the ground. Eduardo Escobar's got it. So does Descalso, and another 1-2-3 inning for the Arizona right-hander. Lead after they put a couple together in inning number 2 against Jacob Nix. He goes back to work here and certainly looks better than he did in his first start against the Diamondbacks and than he did in his last start against the Dodgers a week ago. And I think that goes back to what we were saying about Eric Lauer last night. For these young guys, I think there is something to be said, Mark Grant, for having a good one as your last one.
I think that is the way to end the season. Eric Lauer is going to think about that and then work this offseason and say, I need my first start next year if he's in the rotation to be just like the last one. And I think the same for Jacob Nix. Location of the fastball is very key. We talked about that. He's not going to light up the radar guns. And the secondary pitches, I'm telling you, you got to throw it for a strike consistently 7 out of 8 times out of 10. 7 to 8 times out of 10. That's what I'm trying to say.
7 or 8 times out of 10.
Right, there you go.
So between 70 and 80% of the time.
Right.
Okay.
For strikes to be successful in this league. And you got to spot the fastball. You don't have to throw 98, 99. 92 is fine.
Yeah, if you're putting it where you want to put it.
Right.
And that was an issue for him last week against the Dodgers. Andy Green said, look, that's not the kind of team you can miss location on, because then Manny Machado is going to go boom. And he did. Lead walk here in the 4th, in time now for our Valley View Casino trivia question.
I love trivia.
It's the next to last trivia question of the season. The Padres have played in 15 extra inning games this season. Hadn't noticed. What is the Padres single season record for most extra inning games played? That is a wonderful question.
You want to put out there an over-under?
I mean, I have no idea, honestly. Like, that's what makes it to me such a good question.
I'm going to go over-under 12, and I'm going to go over.
Well, hasn't it been 15 this year?
Oh, has it been 15 this year?
Is that what it said? I've already forgotten.
So it's been...
Oh, 15 is the most ever? 15 this year. And what is the most ever?
Okay.
So we've already hit your over. So that's...
All right.
You know, Yvonne's a little distracted tonight, and if you want to know
distracted.
why, what do we have going on here? What is all this?
I'm going with the stick mic tonight, going old school.
Very old school. It sounds great, by the way.
Thank you. I like the feeling of the natural the natural sound of the ballpark.
So you don't have these on your ears.
I'm not wearing the cans tonight. So I like to, you know.
Now, is this a first for you?
This is a first, and it might be something that's a regularity.
This is a new thing. And how do you think your usual partner will feel about this?
He's going to have to deal with it.
Poor Dan. Caught by Garrett. Shortstop, a chance for 2 and a little bit offline. And a little bit more of a sense of Javi Guerra's defensive skills tonight.
Spectacular play by the Padres at young shortstop, going to his right. Look at athletic position, and then react. And then on the run, up in the air, just offline a little bit to try to get that runner to double him up. One swift move, getting that rock across the diamond. That's fun to watch.
For a moment, looked like Descalso might not be able to get back, but he does. And now your guy, Ildemaro Vargas, takes strike one. His RBI single back in the second inning gave the Diamondbacks a 1-0 lead. And then a wild pitch by Jacob Nix to the very next batter would make it 2-0, and that's where we are now in the fourth. That one skips away. And this wild pitch will cost 90 feet as Descalso moves to second.
Jacob Nix does not have the feel of that changeup yet this evening. Let's check out the release. Kind of rolling it over there, kind of spiking it, rather than kind of staying on top and going through that baseball. Kind of off to the side a little bit. Across rather than on top.
So Descalso now in scoring position. Opportunity for the ground ball double play goes away. And again, Ellis, I think, off the bare hand.
Yep. Whoa. Did he just get crossed up right there? Did you see AJ's reaction?
Oh, yeah.
He got crossed up, and thank goodness that ball was fouled out of play. He was expecting something else.
Yeah, it was a fastball from Nix, and you're right. Ellis was kind of going down like he thought the breaking ball was coming, and he kind of pointed out to second base, I think, to remind Nix, hey, runner on second. Remember what we're doing here. Another one in the dirt, and Ellis able to smother it this time.
AJ's getting beat up.
Nix has walked 3 and yet to strike anybody out. Certainly a good opportunity here for a K, with the number 8 hitter coming up next. 2-2 to Vargas, and that's hit well out to right field. It's deep. Reyes goes back, and it's gone. A 2-run home run for Ildemaro Vargas. That is his first major league home run. Four to nothing Diamondbacks here at Petco Park.
We talked about fastball command being key. We talk about it with a lot of the starters, not only with the Padres, but throughout baseball. How do you get burnt at this level? Leaving a fastball up, outer third, and Vargas gets extended. 2-2, had him in the hole, couldn't put him away. It sends that on its way.
Celebration in that Diamondback dugout. Again, Vargas, a guy who played 10 minor league seasons, only a few opportunities at the major league level, and he leaves the yard for the first time as a big leaguer.
Got to be honest with you, I love stories like that. Guys who persevere through the minor leagues, and then look at showing that love in the dugout from his teammates. They could be happier for the kid.
Avila takes a good curveball for a strike. Yeah, he's one of these guys who was in indie ball at one point a couple of years ago.
You know, it's easy, Jesse, to root for the kid who's the #1 pick and drafted second in the nation and just deals through the minor leagues and success at the big league level for many, many years. But I love stories like that.
I'm with you. That is another opportunity for Guerra. He knocks it down, kind of waited. Don't know if he realized he had the catcher running. And they'll give an infield single to Alex Avila. You know, Guerra knocked it down, and
did he lose it maybe? Did he not know where it was? It was kind of hard from my vantage point. I'd have to take a look at the replay. Let's take a look. One hopper. Oh, he saw it, but then Corey takes charge there.
Godley pops up the bunt, and Hosmer's there. Out number 2.
You know, Jesse, I think if Guerra initiates that grounder to get back to it, I think he throws him out maybe. Avila wasn't run. I mean, he doesn't run that well.
Yeah. Top of the order now, John Jay has already been up twice. Hitting here with 2 outs in the 4th inning. Diamondbacks have doubled their lead on the home run by Vargas. John pinch hit in the 13th inning last night, gets the start today and rolls right over to Freddie Galvis. That will end the inning. But the home run has changed the game, 4-0 Arizona. By Ram trucks.
In the air to left field for Renfroe. Deep far, and that is very gone. Grand slam for Hunter Renfroe.
A couple of grand slams this year for Hunter, including that big one in Milwaukee. I will always remember the bat chuck. Wasn't a bat flip, was a bat chuck on the grand slam.
You know what that reminded me of? You know, like those lumberjack competitions where they take the logs and they got to throw the logs.
Yeah, turn the big tires over.
Right. That's exactly what it was for Hunter in Milwaukee. The good land.
I think Renfroe would do very well in those sorts of competitions.
Strong like bull.
Yeah, big time. He'll be due up second here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Well, he is a bulldog.
Mississippi State Bulldog. I see what you did there. Eric Hosmer leading off against Zach Godley. Haas with a base hit his first time. That is the only base hit of the night so far against Godley for the Padres. And it's been a rough little go here for Zach Godley. Jumped out to the 14 wins. But in the month of September, 4 starts. He's 0-4. And the ERA is up over 7.5.
I think that relates to the location of the fastball, the inconsistency with the curveball. He's got some breathing room right now.
Yeah, the lead always helps.
Yeah, and he's a pitcher who always kind of falls off to the side. If he keeps that baseball in his hand through his follow through and his momentum going towards the plate, and then falls off the first base side, that's fine. But if you start leaning that way before you let go of the baseball, you're going to run into trouble. Inconsistent with that release point.
Here we go. Not bad. Not bad. Scanlon-esque moves.
Oh. Scan's got to be tired down there today. I was so tired this morning when I woke up. I had to get up at 5:45. How about you?
We had such a great time down here, though, yesterday, Mud. As I tell you, I was charging people's phones, talking to people. We had the magic show, which I know you would have appreciated because Jesse does a great job with his magic show on the planes every trip.
Card tricks only.
Well, Hunter Renfroe did a nice job of making that ball disappear into the cup of soup.
Ah.
It's a fine trick.
Yeah, it was pretty good last night. You know, late in the game, everybody's phone batteries had run out, and Bob was like a public service down there. He was like SDG&E. He's just charging people's phones.
You know, Jesse, we just appreciate those Friar faithful that stuck with us through 15 and want to make sure that they got home safely.
Love it. Love it. On the ground, Marte at shortstop. He waits, throws, and makes the play. 1 down in the bottom of the 4th inning. And Mud, I know you love trivia, and we'll answer our Valley View Casino trivia question on this baseball night in San Diego. This year, 15 extra inning games, single season record for most in a season. Now, do you see what it's asking?
I see. I'm going to go 21.
Well, you missed. Twice they have played 24 extra inning games in a season.
Gosh, that's a lot.
Yes, it is.
Mentioned it the other day. In fact, it was last night, that game against the Rockies, the 22-inning affair.
Yeah.
Right here at Petco Park.
Renfroe walked his first time. He's the only other guy to reach base besides Eric Hosmer. We mentioned as the only base hit of the night so far against Zach Godley. 7 in his last 7. And like Mud said, strong like bull.
Oh, that was a mistake right there.
Let's take a look at StatCast AI, powered by AWS.
Biggest piece of the pie right to Escobar at third base. In second place to Marte. Yes, he likes to pull the baseball.
Oftentimes he pulls it up and over everything. No defense for that. You can't put an outfielder in the soup.
That'd be actually kind of funny.
Still a home run, even if he catches it, right?
Maybe there's a new rule in baseball to where you can place one fielder anywhere you want just by chance, like in the outfield, right?
Sure, yeah.
Let's say you got a power hitter coming up.
Yeah.
And with one swing, he could either tie the game or take the lead. You can take one of your outfielders.
Put him in the aisle of section 224.
And find out through StatCast where he hits most of his home runs, and then that outfielder can roam that area.
So he's got to like push through the people with the popcorn, like down the row. This is a great idea. Let's fax that one right to Park Avenue. Another walk for Hunter Renfroe.
See what I'm talking about there? You strike the fear into opposing pitchers on a consistent basis, and that's what's going to happen.
They don't want you to be the guy to beat them.
In fact, credit Hunter Renfroe for not getting froggy and swinging at bad pitches, right? Discipline comes into play.
That is your second frog reference of the night. You have 1 remaining. And we're only in the 4th inning, so pace yourself. Corey Spangenberg getting the nod at third base tonight. And third base certainly has been a hot topic of discussion around the ballpark the last couple of days. Corey finds some room on the other side of the field. And for a wide turn at second, but obviously not going to try to advance anywhere beyond that. Second hit of the night for the Padres, and 2 on with 1 away. A.J. Ellis coming up against Godley, but
looks like a 2-seamer. Left up.
Will Myers has been talked to by the media the last couple of days about his experience at third base. We've heard from A.J. Preller the last couple of days. We've heard from Ron Fowler the last couple of days about the future of third base. And it sounds like Will's primary thing at this moment, at least, is he wants to help the team. And that's why he took this on in the first place. But also, he would, I think it sounds like, appreciate some consistency. Now, whether or not that can be guaranteed is obviously another question. But you understand, obviously, where Will is coming from. It's a lot more difficult when you're bouncing around.
Okay. It's difficult enough to play at this level and have one consistent position, right? But when you're bouncing around, you know, outfield. Well, first of all, he's drafted as a catcher. That's well known. Playing the outfield, first base, left field, third base. A lot going on there.
There's been talk about, you know, guys like Chris Bryant and Ben Zobrist in Chicago, both of whom move around a fair amount. And I think Bryant is a comparable guy, athleticism-wise and skill set-wise, when it comes to trying different things defensively. But that's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, I think it would be easier if you came up, you played a lot of third base in college, you play at the minors, you play at the big league, and then you make that transition. I think it'd be a little easier. Well, let's see if A.J. Ellis sits on a curveball here. Would love to see A.J. do some damage. 1-2. It's a pitch he likes to throw.
Renfroe, the lead runner. Spangenberg with great speed at first, and Ellis into right field. Brito comes on and he makes the catch. A sinking line drive, and now 2 down.
And it was the curveball. AJ stayed on it nicely. Nothing you could change there. Good swing, hit it well, and tries to drive it to the opposite field. Just happened to be a fielder there, AJ. Nice swing.
That's the cruelty of baseball.
Yep.
Margot's 0 for 1. He grounded to shortstop his first time. 2 on and 2 out as the Padres try and break through against Zach Godley. And there's another curveball. There's a lot of talk in baseball, and perhaps more with relief pitchers than starters, about velocity and how many guys now can throw in the mid-90s. But back-to-back games here, Corbin and Godley from the Diamondbacks, a couple of guys who just love to spin it. Margot spins that one into the right center field gap. That'll get down for a base hit and more. Ellis going to score easily. Spangenberg right behind him. Manuel's got all the wheels in the world. He will make it to third easily with the 2-run triple. Padres are on the board here in the 4th.
Hey, if a pitcher throws a lot of fastballs, you hunt the fastball. If there's a pitcher throwing sliders, guess what? You look for the slider. Zach Godley is known for the curveball. A.J. Ellis hit a nice curveball. It was an out. Manuel Margot squares this one and splits the gap. It's got a good sound to it. Fans like it. And at that point, got to go. Split the lead in half.
7th triple of the year for Manuel Margot. That's a pretty good number, huh?
Yes, it is.
Javi Guerra now with Margot 90 feet away. Padres have broken through against Zach Godley here in the 4th. And an opportunity now for Javi Guerra to drive in his first big league run. Just talking about Will Myers, he's in the on deck circle. And Matt Strom, who I've really enjoyed watching pitch this year, is ready to go.
I think he's really going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Padres got themselves a good left-hander in that deal from Kansas City.
He will be one of the most discussed Padres of spring training 2019.
Good call.
Get the sense he will head into the spring with an opportunity to be part of the rotation. But this is a guy who could, I think, do any role you want on a pitching staff.
I'd like to find out what Matt Strom weighs right now. And then into spring training, maybe if he packs on some LBs. I'm not saying 25, 30 LB, but, you know, just to maybe... Because it looks like he's still got some growing to do, you not right?
Yeah,
filling out maybe.
Somebody wrote about it recently, and there were numbers in the article, and I forget who. I apologize to whether it was Casavell, AC, Sanders, or Lynn. But yeah, he knows it, and part of it is that he hasn't been able to do a lot of the strength stuff because of his knee injury.
Correct.
That would put on some weight, but he knows he's got some filling out to do and some weight to put on this offseason. I believe his quote from the article recently was, "Food is not my friend." Something like that, you know, in the offseason.
Right.
Guerra hard hit and through. It will be his first major league RBI. And the Padres are within a run here in the 4th.
Well, congratulations to Javi Guerra, first Major League RBI, and now the Padres only trail by 1. Once again, it's the curveball. These Padre hitters are going up to the plate, looking for the old number 2. Javi having a big smile right there after that. Nicely done.
It is his second major league hit. The first one, if you remember, was called an error and later changed. So this is first, hard hit, no doubt, base hit.
That's legit.
That is a large mound visit. Jose Perella has been introduced as the pinch hitter for the Padres.
Boy, a long time for Mike Butcher to get out there. He got to the foul line and then jogged out to the mound, so giving Godley a lot of time. 25 pitch inning for Zach Godley. That is a workout.
Jacob Nix threw 26 pitches back in the second when the Diamondbacks got their first couple of runs. And now Perella will hit. 2 for 6 with a home run in last night's game. He started at second base. Had the game-tying homer in the 7th, also doubled, stole a base. Had a nice series in San Francisco before that, and he takes strike 1 from Zach Godley.
Speaking of locating the fastball, Zach Godley better do just that. That was an 88-mile-an-hour fastball. Really relying on the curveball tonight.
Hard hit but foul, and now 0-2 on Perella. 7th inning last night. Padres were down 1-0. We would play another 8 innings after this, but a big swing in a big moment for Jose Perella. Welcome to the game, Silvino Bracho. Godley's 0-2 pitch is swung on and missed. Good curveball there, and the inning is over. Padres, though, with a couple of big hits. Javi Guerra, an RBI single. Before that, Manuel Margot, a 2-run triple to the gap in right center field. And after 4, the Padres are within a run. By Petco, the pet company. By Hyundai. And Hyundai, the longer you look, the more there is to like. And right now, there's a lot to see at your Hyundai dealer. And by Jack in the Box. This season, Padres home runs score free Jumbo Jacks only at Jack in the Box. Eduardo Escobar, the number 2 hitter for the Diamondbacks, leads off against the new Padre pitcher Matt Strahm here in the 5th. Jacob Nix is season comes to a close with a 4-inning appearance here against Arizona.
Matt Strom, not one of the arms used last night in the 15-inning juego. And like a starter, relievers as well, they want to finish the year on a good note. Who knows? Matt Strom might pitch tomorrow as well. We'll have to wait and see. See how many innings he goes here.
Padres used 8 of their available 13 relievers in 15 innings last night. Unused, aside from Strom, Nikita, Perdomo, Castillo, and Winginter. Everybody else, you get to play.
If you were a pitcher, Jesse Agler, righty or lefty?
I don't do anything left-handed, so righty.
No, if you were. If you
like if
choose.
I could make myself.
Yeah, you're
left-hander, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
No question.
I wish I could go back in time and kind of reinvent myself as a left-handed pitcher. Left-handed hitter, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Switch hitting catcher. Switch hitting catcher or a left-handed pitcher?
You want to be Francisco Mejia or Matt Strom?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
How's that mustache?
I think it's coming in really good.
First strikeout of the night for Padre pitching.
Just wait till tomorrow. How does it look on HD?
You know, I've been here, so I haven't been able to watch it at home. A little bit.
I can't believe you just touched my mustache. Where's your Purell?
It's in the bag. Don't worry. Marte is 0 for 2, grounded into a double play his last time, and he takes a fastball for a strike from Strom. You've already seen the slider and the 95-mile-per-hour heat.
Yeah, that's 95 crossfire from the left-hander to the right-handed batter.
Marte, switch hitter, batting right-handed against Strom. And I guess it was probably pretty obvious at some point that the first guy we were going to see out of the Padre bullpen tonight would be a left-hander. The way that Torey Lovullo put his lineup together tonight. Jacob Nix got to face one guy who hit right-handed in his 4 innings, and it was the pitcher, Godley. Strom used as an opener a couple of times, and that's another interesting conversation moving forward. Obviously, at this point, have no idea what the Padre rotation will look like at the beginning of next season.
I think there's going to be so many candidates. But I mean, I think that's a good thing.
Sure. You want competition.
Open casting, a lot of opportunities for a lot of guys. That's why it's so valuable for like Joey Lucchesi, Eric Lauer this year, getting 20+ starts this season.
Looked pretty good, but Strom doesn't get the call, and now full count.
Really good pitch. Oh, that's a strike. AJ stuck that one too. Did you see that glove didn't even move?
Opportunity to field his position. Perfect. 2 away. Marte's now grounded out 3 times, and Strom has sent down the first 2 he has seen.
You know what else I love about Matt Strom?
The mustache.
He's got that drip.
Yeah. You learned a new word this week,
oh,
didn't
yeah.
you? Yeah.
I want to thank JJ and Johnny Washington.
The swag.
The swag.
Yeah. Got a little confidence to him.
Yeah, and I also have a confession to make. My 19-year-old daughter, who's a sophomore in college, it's like once a month I'll sit down with her and I'll say, hey, give me the young kids vernacular so I can be cool.
I don't think vernacular is on that list.
I guess one of those is if you're gel, it means you're jealous of somebody. So gel.
You think anybody is gel of your mustache? Manuel Margot gliding.
2 outs, got to go.
Hunter Renfroe cuts in front, makes the catch. inning against Diamondback starter Zach Godley. And as we talk about the future in 2019, do not forget about these gentlemen. Franchi Cordero was electric in his 40 games this year, out with the elbow, expected to be ready for spring training. Christian Villanueva was leading the team with in terms of home runs most of this season. And Dinelson Lamet, hopefully ready to go sometime around the All-Star break next year. And that was a guy who was maybe going to be lined up to be the top pitcher in this rotation this season.
That's the one that really gets to me. I mean, I want to see all those guys get healthy, but the one that sticks out as far as the starting pitcher, Dinelson Lamet. I mean, the ceiling, the upside that we saw when he was healthy, right?
Galvis, right center field, and John Jay makes the play. I remember being in Peoria. Were you there? That last game against Seattle. And Dinelson Lamet, it happened very early on, as I recall, in that game, last spring training game before the team went to El Paso to play that exhibition against the Chihuahuas. And you could just tell something was not right with Lamet, and ended up needing the Tommy John procedure.
And let's hope he bounces back, because there have been guys who have had the Tommy John surgery and pitch 10, 12 years in the big leagues. I mean, it's not a guarantee.
Sure. Franmil swings at the first pitch right to the middleman in the shift. That's Marte. Perfect throw, 2 away. The final baseball night in San Diego of 2018, as the 50th season of Padre baseball comes to a close next year, all year, a 50th anniversary celebration. That will be a lot of fun.
Can't wait.
I know some things about what they have planned that I can't share publicly.
Right.
But it's going to be a lot of fun.
Can you tell me in between innings?
No, because you got a big mouth. I mean, you talk for a living, so I don't necessarily blame you, but I'm not coming to you with my deepest, darkest secrets.
I'm anxious.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm glad. Get excited. It's a big number. 5-0. Eric Hosmer is one of the 4 Padre hits tonight. A single back in the first inning. He grounded out his second time up.
I was 6 years old when the Padres threw their first pitch as a major league team. 1969. I was born in '63.
It's a long time ago. Godley trying to bounce back after the long 4th inning with a 1-2-3 5th. And he will not. Eric Hosmer into center field, his second hit of the night. 2-out single, tying run aboard for the Padres in the 5th.
Almost identical to that single in the first inning. In fact, this may be in the exact same spot.
We'll ask StatCast. He tracks all that stuff. So Hosmer twice, rolls one up the middle and through. And now the dangerous Hunter Renfroe.
Once again, nibbling. 2 walks tonight for Hunter Renfroe.
Hard hit on the ground. Nicely done by Marte on the backhand, and the inning over. Slick defensive play by the Diamondback shortstop. Inning. This is an RBI single by Ildemaro Vargas that gave the Diamondbacks a 1-0 lead. 2-0 on a wild pitch right after that. And then Vargas, his next time up, a 2-run homer. Arizona was in front 4-0, and you thought, uh-oh, but Padres rallied in the 4th inning. This would be a triple for Manuel Margot to bring home 2 runs. And then the very next batter, Javi Guerra, with his first Major League RBI. A single through the right side. All smiles for Javi. And a beautiful curveball, my goodness, from Matt Strahm to start things off here in a 1-run game in the top of the 6th.
Yeah, the beauty about that pitch is for strike 1. Remember, he throws 95 on the fastball. Tough to catch up to that heater if placed well.
Slider this time, and Descalso able to lay off 1-1.
Plus pitches, right, for all 3, Jesse, would you say?
I would.
Slider, curveball, and fastball?
And that's why a lot of people talk about him as a potential starting pitcher. Oh, wow. Descalso fun fact. Jeff Prout, nicely done. Almost for Strahm, but behind the back and into center field. Boy, Descalso, a double, a walk, now a single, and he's already scored a couple of runs.
Hockey shoot on that one. Straight up the box.
So here are reasons why Matt Strahm could factor into the rotation picture next year. For one, as you just said, 3+ pitches. Now I believe 21 of his 41 appearances this year have been multi-inning performances. He's been a starter at times in his career. He's got the physical ability. He's got the stuff. You got to figure they're going to give him a shot.
I would think so. Only got to go 5 or 6 now, right? Perfect fit.
Broken bat and caught by Galvis. That is now in the screen behind home plate.
And that is music to a pitcher's ears. Snapping a bat like that.
Careful of splinters. There you go.
4-seamer in the kitchen big time. Left with a baton.
Here's Vargas, big night, maybe a career night for Ildemaro.
They call him Illy.
Like the coffee?
Yeah.
Do they, or are you just making that up?
You know, it's not that tough to find out what guys' nicknames are, right?
So you know.
Or Circus. Circus Vargas.
Sure. You were big into the nicknames, weren't
I
you?
like Illy, though. Yeah, nicknames are cool. Seriously. You go back in time. We've had this discussion before over the years. You go back in time in this great game of baseball back in late 1800s.
Oh, yeah.
Nicknames. Everybody had a nickname.
Joe the Butcher Smith.
Yeah. And it wasn't because he worked in the meat shop in the offseason. It was because of his fielding.
He was a butcher at shortstop. That was cutting-edge humor in the 19th century.
Old Hoss Radbourne.
Sure.
One of my faves.
You're right, though. You start, pecking around on Baseball Reference, and you go back to the, like you said, the early 1900s, late 1800s. Every guy has a nickname in quotes. I remember as a kid flipping through the baseball encyclopedia and just kind of laughing at that stuff.
Your favorite player, Gary Carter, was?
Kid.
Right.
The really great ones, nicknames, are the ones that transcend the clubhouse or go beyond the clubhouse, where guys are just referred to that way conversationally by fans and broadcasters.
Right.
Those are the strong nicknames. Like when you were actually pitching, not your announcing days. Oh, here comes Mudcat.
Right.
Was that something that people said?
Sure. Or, I mean.
Like Uncle Teddy, you're coming into the game.
I don't think he would drop that on the air. Yeah. Here comes Gas Can Grant.
Oh, not again.
Get the extinguisher. Yeah, I will tell you this, though.
Yeah.
After being an announcer now and hearing what, scribes when I'm up in the press box and, announcers say, oh, not this guy. And then, oh, it finally clicked. I know what you guys said about me when I was coming into a game now.
possibly.
So, yeah. No, that was true.
Well, don't let that ERA fool you. You know, a couple of bad outings here and there could throw the whole thing out of whack. I know 11 looks like a big number. Love you. 2 on and 1 out for Alex Avila. Matt Strom trying to keep this a 1-run game in the top of the 6th.
Well, good double play candidate. He does not run well. And once again, A.J. Ellis, being the pro, he knows when to go out there and take a visit. Falling behind 1-0 after that walk. And also gives some time to Trey Winginter.
Big right-hander did not work in last night's game. Now let's take a look at the Jerome's best seats in the house center to win these seats at any Jerome's location. Awesome. Great view, great seat, literally, great seat. Why they're called the best seats. Can't do any better than that.
I concur. Well, Avila likes to elevate the ball. He's only grounded into 4 double plays this year. Going into this ball game, 191 at-bats. So if you can have him hit it on the ground, infield playing into pull, good chance to turn 2.
Marte grounded into a double play earlier tonight. He does elevate though, and he sends Margot racing back onto the warning track. A running grab by Manuel for the middle out here in the 6th inning. Descalso tags, goes to third base, and now runners on the corners. The pitcher is due up, and looks like Godley's going to hit for himself. Godley 3 for 53 on the season. I'll do your math.
I'm going to say 054. 055.
Give him some credit. 057. What do you have against Zach Godley? Tempted but lays off. All of a sudden Strom seems in command, maybe not as sharp as at the beginning of his outing.
Yep.
Name of the game though is the goose egg in the run column. Second inning of work for Strom, trying to keep it a 1-run game. Runner goes from first, and they won't even bother with him as Vargas steals it back.
Yeah, concentrate on the pitcher with 2 outs.
That's a freebie. Godley maybe a squeeze, but fouls it back. Yeah, I think Ellis got another piece.
You know, not a bad idea because Hosmer was playing back, but still, if the ball is put in play, now the race is on. Matt Strom, very nimble off of the pitcher's mound, very athletic. And where does AJ get this one? Off the left shoulder. Gosh. So you want to be a catcher, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we're not even through 6 innings tonight, and already, what, 3 painful moments for him back there? Strom one good pitch away to Zach Godley from getting out of this inning unscathed. Descalso at third, Vargas at second. Now the 1-2 to Godley. And off the handle, he floats it behind the Padre dugout. Frank Viola. Great stash. Now that, sir, is a mustache.
Well, he just didn't start it yesterday. Give me about a month.
You're jealous of his mustache, aren't you?
That I am. You know, I was talking mustaches the other day in the clubhouse with Austin Hedges and Travis Jankowski and Skip Schumacher. And I told I told Hedgie, I said, that's a great mustache. Yeah. I told Austin, I said, you got to go straight Phil Garner mustache. I said, who's Phil Garner? So I Googled and showed it to him. He goes, oh my gosh, I can't believe that.
80s and early 90s baseball mustaches.
Thurman Munson. And then I told him he's got to go Thurman Munson gear.
Orange?
Remember the orange top with the orange knees and the blue shins?
Sure. Pretty good, but a touch inside, and now a full count to the opposing pitcher.
Got to be spot on right here with the fastball. You just cannot throw it down the middle. Matt Strom knows that.
Bob Boone was another catcher, I feel like, way back in the day. It didn't necessarily match the team. Now everybody is color coordinated to the team with their catcher's gear. 3-2. Godley stays alive.
Hey, good swing right there.
I mean, for a guy who came into tonight as a career .067 hitter, he's battling.
Well, the 8th pitch is coming to Zach Godley right here from Matt Strom.
Jacob Nix went 4. Allowed 4 runs on 5 hits. Strom trying to work back-to-back scoreless innings. And a walk to Godley loads the bases. Second walk of the inning, and now the 5th walk issued by Padre pitching here tonight. No manager likes to see that. Top of the order coming up. John Jay, the next scheduled hitter. We saw that Wingander was warming. Jay, a left-handed bat. Wingander, a right-handed pitcher. And that'll be all for Matt Strom here on this Saturday night. 1-run game, bases loaded, 2 outs. It's going to be a few months before you can do it again. Game 162, and remember, a 12 o'clock first pitch. So pregame coverage begins at 11:30 here on Fox Sports San Diego. Dueling Southpaws on the final day of the season. Robbie Ray for Arizona, and Joey Lucchesi, like Nix tonight and Lauer last night, wraps up his rookie campaign with a start against the Diamondbacks here this weekend. Do hope you'll be able to join us tomorrow beginning at 11:30 in the morning.
Well, Jesse, tomorrow's like the end of summer camp.
Yeah. Good analogy. I like that.
You know, we spend all summer together and go through the ups and downs.
And now we go back to our real friends.
Yeah, we get to pick our own friends. You're right.
I joke. But, I mean, you and I will probably be having coffee within a week.
We most definitely will.
I don't want to say definitely, but, like, there's a decent chance.
Yeah.
We'll be having coffee sometime next week.
Trey Wingander, the right-hander, enters his 22nd game. Inherits 3 runners, but only needs 1 out here in the top of the 6th.
Sticky, bases loaded for John Jay, and the fastball misses up away. I mean, we joke about it, but we see each other, and I speak for the whole crew here, literally more than we see our families during the baseball season. Hats off to the families. That is something to deal with, man. For all these players, everybody who works in baseball, does all the traveling.
Well, Andy Green always talks about matchups and how certain pitches play against certain hitters. Well, he likes Trey Winginter's stuff against John Jay at the plate, righty versus lefty.
Falling behind though, and obviously no place to put him now. 3-0. Diamondbacks have already drawn 5 walks tonight, including 2 this inning issued by Matt Strahm. The last one was to the pitcher, Zach Godley. Dangerous hitter on deck in Escobar. And the 3-0 to Jay misses, ball 4, the 3rd walk of the inning, and this one brings in the 5th run of the night for the Diamondbacks.
That hurts. That hurts big time. Not even throwing a strike that at bat.
Andy Green cannot like this. 3 different Padre pitchers tonight have totaled 1 strikeout and issued 6 walks. Now the switch hitter Escobar. One for 3 tonight with a base hit. And Winginter a strike against a guy who has extended his hitting streak to 10 games. Escobar had a walk-off home run for the Diamondbacks on Tuesday against the Dodgers. And a ground ball has Galvis moving towards second base. Freddie makes the play and the inning is over. Diamondbacks get 1 more and lead by 2. Major League Baseball probable MVP, fair to call him that, Christian Yelich. How about Tomas as the Brewers 3 outs away from closing out the Detroit Tigers in the next to last game of the season. Yelich with 2 more home runs in a huge game for Milwaukee. Cubs lost earlier today to St. Louis, and so if the Brewers hold on to beat the Tigers, that National League Central will be tied heading into the final day of the regular season. Both teams will go to the playoffs. One of them, though, will have to play in that win or go home wild card game.
Yeah, the last 10 games for Christian Yelich, 5 doubles, 2 triples, 4 homers, a 471 average, 13 runs scored. He's just doing it all down the stretch when it matters for Milwaukee.
The other interesting thing is what's happening in Denver tonight. And because that Brewer game is not yet final, it's still a half game. But the Nationals leading 6-2 in the 7th inning against the Rockies. And so if the Rockies don't win, then they will be tied going into the final day of the season with the Dodgers.
How about that? A season coming down to 1 game. I mean, we've seen it before, but it's great. I mean, essentially what we're going this weekend, this is the playoffs right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
For those teams, I don't think there's any question about it. And look, getting to the postseason is an accomplishment. That wild card game, that is the playoffs now. But it's scary. You know, one bad outing, you're not going to let your starter get knocked around. If he doesn't have it early, you got to go.
Yep.
No margin for error in a game like that. The other team gets to take a couple of days, set things up, and then play a best of 5. So your wild card game will be some combination of Cubs, Brewers, Dodgers, Rockies.
Stay tuned.
We'll be tracking it all for you tomorrow. Remember, every game starts at the same time on the final day of the season. So you join us for the last Padre game of the year, and we'll keep track of all the craziness. You're rooting for Extreme Chaos, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, me too.
Extreme Chaos is the name of my new band.
And what do you do in the band?
Play the tambourine. The triangle.
Cowbell. You ever play an instrument?
No, I wish I did. I'm kicking myself. I should have learned the piano. Should have learned guitar. I still can, I guess.
Sure, why not?
You know what Mike Kruko suggested? Because he's a big musician. Get a ukulele.
Sure.
Start with a ukulele.
Spangenberg strikes out, and Zach Godley, he is rolling right along after a tough month of September. He's gone 5 1/3. He's got a 2-run lead.
This copyright telecast is presented by authority of the San Diego Padres and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
Maybe somebody watching is a ukulele expert, and they can give you some tips.
You know what else I would like to play? Harmonica. How cool would that be? You just put it in your pocket. Appropriate time.
And what is the appropriate time?
Just on a bus.
Oh, I don't think that's appropriate. 2 in the morning. We're in Cincinnati. Just landed. Tired. Played extra innings earlier that day in Arizona. Everybody's half asleep, driving to the hotel, and you pull out the harmonica.
Lovely.
Inappropriate. A.J. Ellis making what I'm sure is his final start of this 2018 season. Zach Godley obviously the same. Manuel Margot on deck.
How cool would it be for A.J. to homer right here?
Very. He's had only one this year. It came back in May against the Dodgers in Los Angeles, fittingly enough. 2-2. I mean, the way you heard Andy Green talking about A.J. Ellis before the game tonight, I mean, it certainly sounded like this could be the last game of his big league career. And A.J., as Bob told us earlier, wants to keep playing, but you don't know what those opportunities will be as a 37-year-old catcher. But this is a guy who, as Bob noted, has had a great offensive season, as compared to everything else in his career, and has worked so hard to keep himself physically and mentally ready. I mean, you talk about getting to the ballpark early, and you see him running around in the outfield and just doing whatever he can to stay sharp. And A.J. had a quote in an article early this summer that's really stuck with me. And he said, there are so many smart people in this organization that we as players have access to. And he said, you'd be a fool not to take advantage of that and pick their brains a little bit. And I mean, so you got a guy that turned 37 years old the first week of the season. Been there, done that in every way in Major League Baseball. Who's looking for that little edge, that little nugget that might help him be better. Strikes out here. And now 5 on the night for Zach Godley. Time now for the top tier play brought to you by Arco. Go back to the 4th inning. A couple of guys on for Manuel Margot, and he just absolutely knocked this one into the right center field gap. Got it past Brito. 2 runs would come in to score, and Manuel Margot, RBIs number 49 and 50 on the year, his 7th triple of the season.
I think Manuel did a great job rather than trying to pull that breaking ball. He stayed on it a little bit more and just let it travel and spanked it to right center field. The hanging breaking ball is something that guys, their eyes light up and they want to turn on it and yank it. Well, Manuel stayed on it a little longer and rifled it the opposite way.
Margot drove in those 2 runs. The only other Padre run coming courtesy of a Javi Guerra RBI single that plated Manuel. And Godley all of a sudden looking about as sharp as he has at any point tonight. One and 2 to Manuel, and in the air right center again. Jay racing back. He will get there and make a great running catch. Another nice piece of contact for Manuel Margot, but we go to the 7th. Brought to you by Sequan Casino, opening in 2019 is Sequan's brand new 300-room resort and hotel. And by Pacific Surfliner. Ride the Surfliner to your next Padres game. First Major League RBI tonight for Javi Guerra, and now Trey Wingener back to work. Issued a bases-loaded walk to John Jay last inning before getting Eduardo Escobar to ground out to end the 6th. And now Marte, Peralta, and Descalso, 3, 4, and 5 due up for the Diamondbacks in a 2-run game, top of the 7th. Padres took game 1 of this series last night in 15 innings, and now it's the Diamondbacks with a 2-run edge in the late innings tonight.
Plain and simple right here, Jesse. Hold the deficit for Trey Wingeter. Keep it at 2.
Skips that one in. Obviously, a lot of the conversations in terms of Andy Green talking to the media the last couple of days have been about the season winding down and the big picture. And certainly that makes a lot of sense at this point. And one of the things Andy was asked today is if he can look at whether it's the Braves or the A's, whatever team has had a nice quick turnaround, and draw something from them. And he said, look, every team situation is unique.
It's different.
But he goes, there is motivation there,
sure,
that can be taken, and that reminder, for guys going into next season that maybe it doesn't take as long as everybody thinks it's going to.
Yeah, there's no template, right? There's no one set template that says this way it's going to work for Oakland, this way it's going to work for Houston. Different people, different parts, different talents, different ways to manipulate the roster.
And a lot of it goes back to an individual's performance. I mean, if you get one guy that just plays out of his mind at an MVP kind of level, and think about Acuna in Atlanta. I mean, I think they expected him to be good. They probably expected him to be very good. I can't imagine that anybody in the Brave organization, really no matter how confident they were in his abilities, thought that he would be this good. And it completely changed their season. Impact player that definitely made the difference this year. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like next year that was supposed to be the year for the Braves, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Maybe contend.
Yeah.
And what do you know? They're going to the postseason, winning the East.
Part of that also, I guess, if you want to call it luck, the Nats having a down season.
Sure.
That certainly changed the calculus a little bit. But, you know, those are the kinds of things that can happen. Everybody expected the Dodgers to run away with the West.
I picked them.
And we're going to go into the final day of the season, and they may not win it.
I picked the Dodgers to win at least by a handful of games. And once again, you get 10 people in a room, you get 12 different opinions. And who knows what's going to happen? And what do you know? It's probably going to go down to the last game of the season.
Colorado last year eliminated by the Diamondbacks in that wild card game, and then Arizona swept by the Dodgers in the division series. And you thought LA was just going to steamroll. And it came down to Game 7 of the World Series. And now this year, they don't clinch a postseason spot until today. Shelby Miller right off the disabled list. And looks like he'll get an opportunity to come into this game. Former Brave. A trade that has worked out very nicely for Atlanta. Little roller, and Wingender gives way to Hosmer. He's got a stretch there, but he's able to make the play. A tweener. Nicely done by Haas. 2 away.
Well, in spring training, we talk about pitchers getting over there. If you can get to it, you get to it, then you race to the bag. It got by Trey Wingenter. Now, Eric Hosmer's got to go to his right and then to his left quickly, and just gets there in time.
So 2 outs and the base is empty, and Wingender will face a guy that has been as much of a thorn in the side tonight as anybody else. Daniel Descalso, the first baseman. Getting a start tonight in place of Paul Goldschmidt. He's been aboard 3 times, and he has scored all 3. So he has scored 60% of the Arizona runs tonight. Wingender again having some trouble throwing strikes, and walks are a topic of conversation, I think, certainly involving the Padres pitchers tonight. 3 from Nix, couple from Strom. Wingender walked the first guy he saw with the bases loaded on 4 pitches.
Uncharacteristic.
For sure. That one's well struck to right. More thorn in the side. But Franmil goes back and makes a great over-the-shoulder running catch. He covers more ground than you probably think that he does. Very nicely done by Franmil Reyes in right. That ends the top of the 7th inning. We'll stretch at Petco. Padres down 2. The game. How about Javi Guerra? 4th inning. His first major league run batted in. Manuel Margot had just tripled to drive in 2. Guerra brought him home, and the Padres at that point got to within a run against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Snakes added 1 in the 6th and now lead by a pair, with Guerra leading off in the bottom of the 7th. Night is done for Zach Godley. Welcome back, Shelby Miller.
Yeah, he coming back from the 60-day DL, right elbow inflammation. That was today. This kid's returning from Tommy John surgery. He did that on June 25th in 4 starts at an 11 ERA, but this is his first relief appearance since July 20th of 2014 with the Braves, as Jesse mentioned earlier. That was in the Dansby Swanson deal, correct?
Inciarte.
Yeah.
Remember, Miller had some of his physical problems begin here a couple of years ago. You remember he scraped his finger on the mound? And it seemed to set off this chain of events in which nothing went right for him physically. It was almost bizarre.
You know, I think that was the first time I've ever experienced or seen anything like that. And think about it. You're throwing a ball, 95 miles an hour, and then your knuckles scrape the ground. I mean, that's going to do some serious damage. Had Tommy John surgery on May 10th of 2017.
Only the 4 starts last year before he had to deal with that. And now 2-2 on Guerra. So Miller in relief of Zach Godley, who goes 6 and allowed 3 runs on 5 hits. One of my favorite Zach Godley stories is that last year he and Andrew Chafin, the reliever, they lived in an RV together during the season. We were talking about, the baseball season being long, you're away from your family, that kind of stuff. And so they said, you know what, let's get a nice big recreational vehicle and we'll shack up. This feels like something you would have done.
I'll bet you it's a nice one, too.
Oh, I'm sure it is. For big leaguers, man.
It's not like the one, Cousin Eddie had in Christmas Vacation.
Oh, the Winnebago. Pitch is outside, ball 4. So Javi Guerra lead walk in the 7th. You saw Francisco Mejia in the on-deck circle, and he will come to bat here representing the potential tying run.
Well, a little high on the walk side for Shelby Miller. 7 going into this game in 15 frames. Very patient at bat by Javi Guerra. Pass along to the next guy.
Mejia caught all 15 innings in last night's game. He was held without a hit. Gonna try and get on base here, do some damage with the Padres down 2 in the 7th. Nice stop by Avila. Bat gets around quickly, doesn't it?
He is not afraid to swing it. He is very quick to that baseball.
Key to the right-hander, Jose Castillo, the southpaw, up and throwing for the Padres. Talked last night about the lack of fastballs that came Mejia's way. Got one there. With that early big league career scouting report. Plenty of soft stuff. Another fastball and well placed by Shelby Miller, 1-2.
94 with a little bit of movement. And as you mentioned, Jesse, good location.
Guerra leads at first base. The 1-2 to Mejia is grounded to second. Vargas goes there. That's 1 and now 2. A double play. Don't forget about the leadoff walk. 2 outs. Base is empty. Top of the order for Freddie Galvis.
Well, even though a guy loves a fastball, doesn't mean you can't throw a fastball. Mejia likes to swing aggressively. Well, Shelby Miller displayed 94 with a little bit of movement. Got a ground ball there.
Galvis had the big hit last night. Padres and Diamondbacks have now played a 16-inning game this year, a 15-inning game this year. You were talking about the 22-inning game for the Padres against the Rockies that you broadcast. Do you remember one as a player that went exceedingly long? I mean, it's different obviously as a pitcher than a position player.
You know, one doesn't stick out, but I know there had to be a couple of 14s, 16s in there along the way. And here's why. I remember one in Atlanta. I don't know how long it went, but I was the only reliever not used, right? So, you know, I knew it was coming. We won the game, and we're coming into the clubhouse, and everybody on the roster is used except you, and it's going to happen to everybody. Hey, good job, everybody except Mud. Right? Just airing me out because I didn't contribute to the win. I was the only pitcher left in the bullpen.
You were the insurance policy. You were the safety blanket.
It may be because I'd been used 2 games prior to that or whatever. But
might have been the case.
Might have been.
Maybe, maybe not.
Highly doubtful.
2-2 to Galvis, and now a full count. Did you go like 4 innings the next game? Was it one of those situations?
Yeah, I picked up the starter. He couldn't get out of the first, and I finished the 6th. Got 2 outs in the first and went through the 6th inning. It's on the shelf. Had my running shoes on.
Galvis has worked the count full. And Miller hangs a breaking ball that is banged into right field. That will be caught. Socrates Brito covering a lot of ground, and Freddie Galvis just missed. 7 innings played, and the Arizona Diamondbacks have a 2-run lead. Nice running grab by Brito in right.
And they're fighting for the division now, and it would go Juan Soto's way as the Nationals take a big lead.
Mike, you think about it, 19-year-old Juan Soto, not since Ken Griffey Jr. came into the league has a rookie like this had an impact at that age. It's been unbelievable, and he's probably not going to win the Rookie of the Year. But I tell you what, the NL East, they're very talented, and they have in good hands, him and Acuna Jr.
When your name is in the same sentence as Mickey Mantle, you're
incredible,
right? You're doing some things right. So Juan Soto, an exciting player, and he might be part of the reason that the Nationals choose perhaps to go to a different direction when Bryce Harper situation gets resolved. Mark and I working on the post-game show brought to you by Cox. Guys, we'll see you after the final out.
Hey, thank you both very much. And so it looks like unless the Rockies stage a miraculous comeback, the Dodgers and Rockies will be tied going into the final day of the season. It'll be the same situation for the Brewers and the Cubs in the Central Division. And they said it. Juan Soto factors in, you would think, significantly into the way the Nationals will approach Bryce Harper's free agency. Even when we saw the Nats early this year and Soto had just come up, you got the sense That was at least in some people's minds in Washington. Certainly wouldn't speak for their ownership or their front office, but it was being talked about already. That, hey, this guy can fill the void, not only numbers-wise, but personality-wise and like star power-wise in that market, because he's got all kinds of personality. Socrates Brito flies out to center field, 1 away in the top of the 8th inning.
Now he's got some serious swag. I mean, the way he carries himself on the field, and you could tell that he's probably going to have a lot of success at the big league level. As Kaz Makita enters this game, is 27th for the. Would you classify him as a submariner or low sidewinder?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As opposed to
low 3/4.
I would say submariner, or if you prefer, submariner.
There you go. You know, I think of Makita and I think of the off-speed pitches in spring training and the oohs and the ahs from the crowd in Peoria.
The 53-mile-an-hour curveballs.
Yeah. And essentially pitching uphill with the fastball.
Yeah.
Pitchers are taught to go downhill, right? Downward plane. Makita just opposite. Pitch up in the zone with the heater, like right there.
Vargas muscles it into center. Margot can cover ground and does. Out number 2. Another guy that throws from down low, Brad Ziegler, back with the Arizona Diamondbacks and getting set. It would appear to work the bottom of the 8th inning. Reyes, Hosmer, and Renfroe due up for the Padres. All 3 San Diego runs scored back in the 4th inning. There it is.
Yeah. 60. The floater.
This is not slow motion.
Right out of the outside corner. And then he brings the gas at 81.
You can hear it, the oohs and the ahs. You go high 50s on any pitch in the big leagues. Makita works quickly as well. That was one of his calling cards even in Japan. Just misses there, 3-1. Avila's certainly a pull guy. How about that shift?
Yeah, you got the infield going this way. You got the outfield going that way.
You got Freddie Galvis basically playing right as the second baseman. Fastball blown right by him at 82 miles an hour, and the count is full.
I tell you what, as a hitter, you got to really stay back. I mean, come on, get there, get there, get there. You start to lunge, and you either get the weak grounder, you roll it over, you pop it up.
Pitcher spot next. Owings on deck. Will we get to him is the question. That depends upon Kazuhisa Makita and Alex Avila. That's quite the differential there. Well, 23 miles an hour. Makita been up and down from AAA all year. Strikes out Avila and works a 1-2-3. Top of the 8th inning. Heart of the order coming up, down 2. Two in a row over the Arizona Diamondbacks. Franmil Reyes, Eric Hosmer, Hunter Renfroe due up here in the bottom of the 8th, and a new pitcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks, a guy that brings it a little bit heavier than Kazuhisa Makita does, but like you said, kind of a similar delivery.
Yeah, he's got a rubber arm. Brad Ziegler is into his 82nd game. Does not throw hard at all. He hits his spots from way down under. First in games, now with 82. Ground ball percentage, it's really tough to elevate off of Brad. In fact, a nice little nugget, he became the first Diamondback pitcher to ride the on-track bullpen cart from the bullpen to the mound. Brought him out to a ball game. They have that in Arizona.
Robert Stock was the first Padre
right.
to do so.
Yep.
Put himself into the record books with that. 82nd appearance of the year for Ziegler, which is ridiculous. And Ketel Marte, what a barehanded play. Wow. Reyes has now grounded out 4 times tonight, and this is pretty special.
You know, we've seen Marte do a little bit of everything in this series, and that just adds on another plus. His defense doesn't use the glove, the bare hand on the run, fires a strike to Descalso. Good player.
And you said it, Ziegler gets the ground balls about as much as any relief pitcher in baseball. Hosmer, a couple of hits on the night with 1 out and the bases empty. The 82 appearances is ridiculous because, one, that means he has appeared now in more than half of the total games of the season. That's an entire NBA or NHL season. Like, that's it. That would be every game.
So when you look at that, fewer innings and appearances. So he's going in there to get a guy here and a guy there, right? 73 innings going into this game in 81 games. So he's the who was it, that one pitcher?
Ah, that one. The guy with the arm?
Yeah.
He wore the hat.
Yeah. And the jersey.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
He'd appear in like 80 games but only have like 52 innings because he was a specialist. That left-handed specialist.
Oh, the lefty.
Yeah,
now
that narrows it down.
Talking about, yeah.
But I'm speaking.
Era,
I'm speaking
team,
of
league.
I'm speaking Tony Fossis. Let's just say.
Sure, yeah.
Back in the day with the Cardinals.
That's who I thought you meant.
Specifically to get a left-hander out, one left-hander out, and that was his job.
That's it. You can only do what they ask you to do.
Yep.
Hosmer well struck the other way. Peralta racing back. This one is gonna go. Home run for Eric Hosmer. There you go, number 18 for Haas. And the Padres are back within a run here in the 8th. Another opposite field blast for the Padre first baseman.
Well, we mentioned that Brad Ziegler is tough to elevate. That's a breaking ball, backdoor breaking ball. Eric stays on it, foot is down, drive it to the opposite field. We've got launch angle, we've got exit velocity, and who's going to tie this one up? Maybe the guy at the plate? Back-to-back jacks, possibly? Stay tuned.
Well, he's certainly capable, Hunter Renfroe. Boy, you said it earlier. They've been very careful with him.
He hasn't got much to hit tonight. And credit Hunter for just spitting on those pitches that are just off the plate to work.
Lefty Jake Diekman warming for Los D-backs. Get a call there. And now 2-1 on Renfroe. You alluded to the launch angle and the exit velocity for Hosmer. There's your distance. Exit velocity 99 miles per hour, and it departed at 25 degrees on your protractor. Nicely done. Top of the mound by Brad Ziegler. Reaction time, 2 away.
Hockey suit. Glove saving a beauty.
Kirby Yates. Worked at one point last night ninth inning. Struck out the side. That's it for Ziegler.
It was around 10:45, wasn't it?
I think so. Coming out with 2 outs, and the base is empty to face the new pitcher, the former Ranger, left-hander Jake Diekman.
Well, I remember when this kid with the Philadelphia Phillies back in the day, he was a hard thrower, and he thought he was going to be one of those kids that was going to be maybe a possible closer. 71st game for Diekman. But really high splits for lefties. Those are really different splits. You think lefty on lefty, it would be reverse. So hence reverse splits. Not the case for Diekman. And what do you know? Here comes the left-hander up to the plate.
Diekman picked up at the trade deadline, you know, back when the Diamondbacks were, I think, leading the National League West. They were there at the top, near the top, most of the season. Came into this final month of the year in first place and eliminated last Sunday from postseason contention. First pitch to Spangenberg, and you see the crossfire action from Diekman. It misses. 1-0 on Corey. Singled and scored back in that 4th inning.
Well, you got to really hang in there, don't you, Jesse? As you mentioned, crossfire thrown across his body, big kid coming at you. He goes also from the first base side of that pitcher's plate.
Over to third base, and Escobar can't handle the hop. That's a fair ball down the line. Spangenberg will stop at first base. He had his head down. He was running. And a base hit for Corey Spangenberg puts the potential tying run aboard. And A.J. Ellis is coming up.
As soon as that ball took that second hop right there, I thought, no chance to get Corey. Even if Escobar fields that baseball, that's an infield single. I was just hoping that it was going to take that hop. It gets by him, and as you mentioned, Jesse, he's going down that line trying to beat it out, and that's the way to approach that if you're Corey.
Now the question will become, do you set Corey Spangenberg in motion with 2 away? Last time his at-bat was on, you wondered aloud about the dramatics of a home run for A.J. Ellis. Even more so right now.
Yep. We talked about the big home runs, Hunter Renfroe, 7th inning or later, big hits. You know, a hanging breaking ball, middle half would probably do wonders for AJ right here.
Ellis obviously doesn't have the plate appearances to qualify this season, but 281 average coming into the game, the highest of his career. 389 on base percentage, highest among all major league catchers who have played in 50 games this year. Not to mention all the off-field stuff, the clubhouse stuff, the bench stuff. Now behind 1-2. Spangenberg, the 2-out single. He represents the potential tying run. Hosmer's homer has pulled the Padres closer here in the 8th. 1-2 in the dirt. Sent up inside on Ellis, and the 2-2 is inside. The count full. Margot had the big triple back in the 3-run 4th inning. Spangenberg will get the head start with the 3-2 pitch. And he popped him up. Very shallow right. Vargas going back. Brito coming in. And Vargas makes the catch. The 8th inning comes to a close. The Padres, though, get to within a run. Eric Hosmer, guess what? He went oppo. A Hos bomb to left field. 18th of the season. And this is a 1-run game going to the 9th inning on a baseball night in San Diego. One run. He will start the top of the 9th inning as we revisit our keys to the game. Brought to you by your San Diego Honda dealers.
Bounce back for Nix. Jacob needed a good one. 4 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned runs. No strikeouts for the right-hander. And some clutch hits possibly tonight. 2 for 4 with runners in scoring position. And the Padres up to this point 5-4, trailing by 1. As Jesse mentioned last half inning, Eric Hosmer going opposite field for a home run.
Call that a clutch hit.
Yeah, it is a clutch hit.
8th inning homer, the 2-run game. Not his fault nobody was aboard. Chris Owings, the pinch hitter for Diekman. Loops this one foul. He's behind 0-2. Owens started the game yesterday. He was 1 for 7 at the plate. And he was a scorer's decision away from an 0 for 7. Could have gone either way. Had been 7 for his last 14. And then 1 for 7 in the 15-inning game. Started in right field. He can play all over the diamond and has. Really interesting season for Owens, too. Kind of a mainstay for the Diamondbacks for the last several years. But down to AAA in August this season, really struggling. And he pops this one up. Hosmer and Ellis converging. It'll be A.J. Ellis making the catch. And one away in the top of the ninth. Top of the order, and John Jay for Makita. This is only his second appearance of the month of September. The other one was last weekend against the Dodgers, the last game in Los Angeles. Blowout win for LA, and Makita came in through the last couple of innings. Scoreless relief. And trying to give another 2 scoreless innings of relief, this time in a close game against the Diamondbacks. There it is.
Yeah. Did you see how John Jay's reaction to that was?
It was like he swung twice.
Yes. It was almost like drifting and just waiting for that ball to arrive. Look at him. Remember the Bugs Bunny cartoon when
I
he
was
threw the
thinking the
change
same
up?
thing, and he swings like
he struck out 3 guys on 1 pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's like the Bugs Bunny change up.
And then the conga line.
That's right.
Just swung at a pitch that was, I don't know, neck high and fouled it back. Wow. I don't know that I've ever seen a guy swing at a pitch that far up. And good for him, he made contact. Got him. John Jay had no idea what to expect from Kazuhisa Makita. And he strikes out, 2 down in the 9th.
John Jay just swung at some pitches as Makita goes all over the map. He went up to the North Pole. He went to the South Pole. Unbelievable.
I think you just put the bat back and you forget it ever happened, right? Here's Eduardo Escobar. He takes 60 in the dirt, ball 1. In the bottom of the 9th inning, Margot, Guerra, and Makita are the scheduled hitters. Obviously a pinch hitter for Kaz. Yoshihisa Hirano is warming, and on the inside corner for a strike. 2-1. Escobar singled in the 3rd inning. He is also struck out, grounded out, and popped up tonight. Makita trying to go 6 up, 6 down. And another foul ball. Still 3-2.
See how late he is on that 82?
It is amazing.
82-mile-an-hour fastball that they're late on because of that off-speed stuff. And the 82 just gets on top of you really quickly.
Hard hit and through. Spangenberg laid out, couldn't get there, and another hit for Escobar. Now it's kicked around and left by Renfroe, but he'll stop at second base. Hunter recovered quickly. A 2-out double for Eduardo Escobar, who for much of this year has had about as many doubles as anybody in baseball.
And he hit that ball exactly where it's pitched. And that, you know what? Corey may have drawn leather on that. As we take a look, ooh, loses his balance up against the wall. It's going to be a double anyway.
Yeah. Looked uncomfortable for Hunter and left. First pitch swinging. Marte fouls one out of play. Struck out in the 7th against Wingeder. He also grounded into a double play back in the 3rd.
Is that a straight changeup? It said 74, 73 changeup, and it kind of just floated. Didn't have that spin like a curveball.
Yeah, it looked like it was more of a gravity thing than a spin thing. 0-2 on Marte, and he just gets a piece of the fastball. I enjoy the fact that a guy who doesn't throw any harder than 82 miles an hour has an opportunity to work back-to-back scoreless innings in the major leagues.
It's a lovely thing, isn't it?
It really,
it's fun to watch.
It's different and it's cool. That is hard hit and caught. Javier made it look easy. Good reflexes and a good 9th for Makita. To the bottom half we go. Yesterday as they won in 15 innings, and now last chance to dance in the bottom of the 9th against the Diamondbacks. 5-4 Arizona. Manuel Margot will lead it off, and he will face Yoshihisa Hirano, who's out there looking for what could be his 3rd major league save.
Yeah, and the Arizona Diamondbacks don't have a so-called closer. Torey Lovullo goes by hunch, he goes by matchups, and you look on the stat sheet for the Diamondbacks relievers, there's more than a handful of pitchers that have a save or two, maybe more. So this situation, Hirano, as Torey looks at his lineup card and who he has to face.
Hirano's done very nice things against the Padres here in 2018, his first year pitching in the big leagues. And he has now, by the way, appeared in more games than any other Japanese rookie relief pitcher. And he broke the record of a former Padre, Akinori Otsuka, back in 2004. Rally camp time at Petco. Final Saturday night of the season. Down a run, bottom of the 9th. Margot takes strike 1. Myers on deck, presumably to hit for Javi Guerra, then the pitcher's spot. We saw comeback magic a couple of times in yesterday's game. Can the Padres do it again? In the air, foul ground, and that'll be out of play.
Padres in bloop and a blast territory right now. Margot, yeah, he can put one out. He can bloop one as well, and the guy in deck can put a charge into one as well.
Myers more hits And more home runs against the Diamondbacks this year than against any other team. The 0-2, got it. Filthy. And the putout is completed. A split finger fastball from Hirano to strike out Margot. 1 down in the 9th.
We talk about Kirby Yates and his split finger. That is a true split finger fastball from Hirano. Even with 2 strikes out of the hand. You know, we were talking about tunneling, right? That tunnel, when the pitcher lets go of the baseball, that certain tunnel, and then it's in the, gets to the plate and it's bang, it's out of the zone. That's a perfect example of that right there as a hitter, what you see.
So Myers will pinch hit. Fastball misses, 1-0. Only the 4th pinch hit at bat of the season for Will. He's 1 for 3, and another pinch hitter in the on-deck circle, Austin Hedges. A couple of guys that can certainly leave the yard. Myers chops it right at Escobar. Descalso had to pick it, and he did. 2 away. Time now for our Carl's Jr. star of the game, Ildemaro Vargas. Big night at the plate. RBI single put the Diamondbacks on the board in the 2nd inning. And then his next time up in the 4th, a 2-run homer, the first of his major league career. And played nice second base as well tonight. 10 years in the minor leagues for Ildemaro Vargas. And his first home run as a big leaguer here tonight.
Talk about taking advantage of a start.
You talk about it. Austin Hedges will try and keep it going for the Padres. Pinch hit in the 10th yesterday. And now in the 9th tonight. Vargas scooting over towards the left side of the infield against him. Hedges has only faced Hirano once this year. He drew a walk. Austin looking for his first pinch hit of the season. And now 1-1. You said it was a true split-fingered fastball for Hirano as opposed to Yates because his more of a split change. Is that right?
Yeah, Kirby throws it more like a, he's got his ring finger more on the ball, and for Hirano it's more of a true split to where the index and the middle finger are literally on each side of the baseball.
Hedges golfs it into center field, and the ball game is over. Vargas fittingly makes the catch, and the Diamondbacks even the series with a 5-4 win. The season finale coming up tomorrow. Coming up right now, Padres Live. Mike Pomerantz, what have you got?
Guys, thanks very much. And we'll get you set for the final game of 2018. That's coming up in just a couple of moments. Andy Green reviews his team's performance tonight. And Joey Lucchese getting a nod tomorrow. What to expect in a moment.